Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you too can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. Thanks for being with me here today as we talk about financial knowing. Before we jump into that, let's talk a little bit about how amazing you are. I'm so grateful to have you here today. Thank you for spending your time to learn how you can live as a thriving entrepreneur, how you can up-level your life, how you can be the best you can be while it's called today. Again, like I said, we're talking about financial knowing. How can you know how to earn more money? Or even, as one of my guests is going to talk about, how to have endless earnings. How do you create financial freedom? What is the right way and the wrong way, if you will? What are the things that are predictable? What are the things that are logical? What are the things that make sense when it comes to the market and investing money? And how can you, more than anything else, be financially aware so that you live a life that, yes, absolutely impacts you, but it also impacts the world around you by allowing you to be empowered to be the amazing person that you are and also help the people that you're meant to help. That's the ultimate version of financial knowing, is when you know how to be able to control your finances in such a way that money is no longer controlling you, but rather it becomes a tool in your arsenal that allows you the ability to be able to do more, be more, learn more, achieve more, and make the difference that only you can make in this world. Money can be a machine that goes and goes and goes for you, but you have to have that financial knowing. You have to know what to do and how to do it so that you can do those things, and then you can make that difference, and the world can be a better place because you did. And at the end of the day, you can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur. Oh, I want that for you. We have three amazing guests. We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to talk today about financial knowing here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Let's jump right in to our first guest. Join me in welcoming Dr. Noah St. John. Hey, Noah, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. Great to be here with you today.
So great to have you back on the show again. Tell us, for those who haven't heard the other episodes, tell us a little bit about your background and the kind of things you do in the world.
Well, I'm known for helping entrepreneurs make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while actually winning their lives back. So I'm the opposite of the hustle and grind, all those guys you hear out there, because it's fine to hustle and stuff like that. But the point is, if that's all you're doing, then you really don't have a system, right? You need to have a system in place so that you can systematically and frankly, easily scale up your business so that you are not working so hard for your business. We want your business working hard for you. So it's really taking what a lot of those guys are saying and flipping it on its head so that you get your business that is really scalable. And that way you can have more of the time, the energy, the relationships, and the money that you really want. So that's what I do.
I love that. And going way back to affirmations and many books since then.
Yep.
What are you on now? Is this number 25 or?
Yes, sir. 25th
All
book.
right.
The new book, it's called The Seven-Figure Machine, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's your ultimate roadmap to endless earnings and financial freedom. And so, yeah, this book number 25, The Seven-Figure Machine. And, your listeners can get a whole bunch of bonuses. We can give out the website for that, when they pick up the book. And I've got tons of free bonuses for them as well. So just really make it a lot of fun.
I love that. So let's talk about Seven-Figure Machine. How do we turn the hustle and grind, I love that word you used, into actually being a machine that really truly generates, 7 figures? That's a pretty big deal.
Well, it really is. That is my sweet spot. What I've noticed is because I've helped entrepreneurs over the last 27 years that I've been in business to add over $3 billion collectively, meaning helping people to add multiple six figures, seven figures, and yes, even eight figures using my strategies, my frameworks, my techniques. But what I realize is that the vast majority of entrepreneurs really want to scale up from six figures to seven figures. That's just like the dream, right? Of course, the first milestone of the first hurdle is you got to get to six figures. So for the folks listening, are like, well, geez, no, I want to get to six. I'm like, yes, of course you do. But if you utilize what I'm teaching you in the seven-figure machine, you're going to get to that six and then the seven-figure level, quite frankly, just way, way, way faster than the hustle and grind. So, the way that I teach is very systematic. It's very step by step. It's very fill in the blank. And that's what I wished that someone would have given me, all the way back then when I started in 1997. I ended up spending over $500,000 with all these gurus, right? All these marketing gurus out there, only to find out they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. I had to put all this together myself after, years and years of trial and error and struggle and torment and pain and agony. And so that's my job, is to help people to really take out those years of trial and error and really just get to the good stuff way, way faster.
You make it sound so easy. And there are people that are out there that have been struggling, pulling their hair out, whatever the case might be, for so long. And of course, I got to get the book in order to know all of it. But can you give us some little tips on some things that people are doing that they shouldn't be doing, or aren't doing that they should be doing?
Right, absolutely. Oh yeah, I mean the book is absolutely chock full of that. So I'll read you just the chapter titles, and that should get you excited, I hope. So we start with my seven-figure offer secrets. So every successful business starts with one successful offer, right? Everything from do it yourself to done with you to done for you, right? So I walk you through the process of actually creating irresistible magnetic offers. Then the second chapter is my seven-figure product secrets. So once you have an offer, you have to create a product, right? This is another thing that entrepreneurs have a lot of trouble with. Well, no, I've got all this great stuff in my head, but how do I get it from my head out into the world? And I'm like, well, there's certain ways that you have to do that. And there's everything from books to online courses to challenges to group coaching and one-on-one coaching. And I give you tons of examples of all of those. Then in chapter 3, it's my seven-figure cash machine secrets. So I literally show you step by step exactly how to build an online cash machine. Doesn't that just sound great? A cash machine. Yes, it sounds really good because it's a thing that you build. And what's awesome about this is you build it once and then it makes you money until the end of time, which is different from a job. A job is a thing where you trade a block of time, your time, for a block of money. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly legitimate. But the problem is, if you stop putting in the time, then you stop getting the money. So with my cash machine secrets, you put in, a certain amount of blocks of time, and then that's it. I mean, you're done. And then it's like, oh, I'm making money. So we separate. That's the beauty of this. We're separating the trade-off between time and money. So then in chapter 4, it's my seven-figure list building secret. So now you have this great offer, this great product, you got a cash machine. Well, now you have to have, a list. I think your most important asset as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, is in fact your list. And I talk about why that is so important and how to do it. Then in chapter 5, my client attraction, my seven-figure client attraction secrets, right? So now you've got this great, everything's in place. Now it's time to attract your ideal clients, your paying customers, right? And this is a big, big problem that I see a lot of entrepreneurs doing, is they're spending tons and tons of money on traffic and they don't have the first things in place, right? They don't have an offer. I've had so many people say to me, Noah, well, the guru said I have to spend all this money on Facebook ads. So I spent all this money on Facebook ads and I lost all my money. I'm like, well, what were you sending them to? Oh, my website. Well, what's on your website? What's your offer? Oh, I don't have a product yet. And it's like, face palm, right? It's like, are you kidding me? All you can do in that situation is lose money, right? So they're telling you to put the cart before the horse. That is exactly wrong. That's what the gurus are known for, right? Is getting things wrong. Anyway, so that's important. And then finally, chapter 6 is my seven-figure scaling secrets. It's really how to scale up. So whether you're at 5 figures wanting to scale to 6, whether you're at 6 wanting to scale to 7, or 7 want to get to 8, every step of the way, I've got you covered. So really, that's the book. And I think it's very step by step, and I think people are really going to be able to use it and benefit and implement immediately.
That's amazing. So, I was actually having this discussion with a client earlier, so I'd love to hear you weigh in. Um, there is the bottom up methodology, where you're doing a whole bunch of little teeny tiny products. And then there's
Right.
the top down methodology. Again, for people who don't know, that's when you're starting right off selling a high figure. Um, can you weigh in on the subject and what your opinion is either way?
Yes, absolutely. So, for example, if you go to coachingwithnoah.com, you can see a whole bunch of examples of, reviews of my different products and my coaching. If you go to shopnoahstjohn.com, you'll see a whole bunch of examples of my different products and offers, right? That's my product suite at shopnoahstjohn.com. So, I firmly believe that if it's at all possible, you really should have those three levels of offers that I talked about earlier: the done for you, the done with you, and the do it yourself. So the do it yourself are books, online courses, and things like that, where that's really for people who have more time than money, right? So maybe they're just getting started or whatever it might be, and they just want a book, they want an online course. It's like, you know what, just give it to me and I'll do it myself, right? Hence the name. All right, then the top of the top level offer is called done for you. That's for people who have more money than time, right? So it's like, no, I just want you to do this for me. So for example, we have a book done for you service, right? If you go to shopnoahstjohn.com, you'll see that and other things. But anyway, the point is, because I've written 25 books, people ask me all the time, Noah, I haven't written one book. Can you help me get my book done? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I can. So we have a book done for you service, right? That's just an example of a done for you service, but there's lots of examples I give you in the book. And then the middle of the road is the done with you, right? So that would be like one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and speaking, consulting, things like that, where you're actually working with people, whether it's one-on-one or groups, and I give you lots of examples of that. So for example, like Tamisa is a client who joined my 12-week breakthrough program. She tripled her investment in 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks of coaching with me, she tripled her investment. We hadn't even gotten to the money part yet. I had another client who's a one-on-one client. He invested 100K for me to coach him one-on-one for a year. He ended up making $1.8 million in just 10 months as a result of my coaching. So do you see, it's not one size fits all. So I know that you're absolutely right, Steve. There's lots of gurus out there that say it's one or the other. I just think it's really all of the above. If you can do it, I say, why not do it? Because then you're able to serve more people at an even higher level.
I love that opinion. Absolutely. So, let's talk about the process of the person working with you. You do have all of those levels. And I know you well enough to know that it always starts with your next and latest book. But kind of talk us through the process. What's it like to work with Dr. Noah St. John?
Well, if you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, you can watch a video training about exactly what it's like to work with me and some, my client results like Tamisa and Stephen, who increased 800% in 12 weeks, and Brittany, who made $40 million as a result of what I taught her, and lots of things like that. So that's breakthroughwithnoah.com, easy to remember. But basically, when I'm talking to clients, that's what they're looking for. Is like, okay, do you want the done with you? Do you want us to just build it for you? Meaning we have a book done for you service, we have a funnel done for you service. We get, I talked about sales funnels. Well, we build those too. We do social media, we do SEO, we kind of do it all, right? Anyway, so that's the done for you. Then the done with you is what I think most people like to start, whether it's the group coaching. I have a program called the 12-week breakthrough. That's a 12-week course where I help you make more in just 12 weeks than in the previous 12 months while actually winning your life back. And then the one-on-one, which, I mentioned that as well. So we start at 6 months to a year. And that's at a of course, very high level. You get, access to me, phone, text, email, and so forth. That's the highest level of working with me is the one-on-one. So I mean, that's really what it's like. And then for people who say, but no, I'm just getting started, or, maybe I don't have the money to invest in that. Great. Well, we've got, the online courses, we've got the books. So, I mean, just actually, one client of mine, Charles, he actually told me that he read one of my books. He walked by it in Barnes and Noble 3 times, and he said the book just called out to him. He had to have it. He read the book, called me up, and decided to invest 100K with me for one-on-one coaching after one phone call with me. So that's how, a book can really help you land those high ticket clients. That's just a very, very simple example, but a very powerful example of how, a book can really help you make a lot of money and make a big difference and a big impact in the world.
I love that. Well, so you have your main offer for us, and you said you have a whole bunch of fun bonuses and extra things. Tell us a little bit about all the cool stuff you have for us.
Yes, absolutely. So when you get the new book, you just go to sevenfiguremachinebook.com. Easy to remember. Sevenfiguremachinebook.com. And all you do is you purchase the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you like. Then you go back to sevenfiguremachinebook.com, enter in your info, your name, your email, and your receipt. And then I give you over $770 worth of free bonuses, including my brand new online course called the Seven Figure Fast Track. So this is a perfect complement to the book. The Seven Figure Machine book is the Seven Figure Fast Track. So it's really getting you on that fast track to that 6 or 7 figure level. And I'm very, very excited about this. So that's a $700 value right there. And there's several other cool bonuses there too at sevenfiguremachinebook.com. But yeah, that is we're just so excited about it. And I'm really happy about the way it turned out, because I wish that someone would have given this to me a long time ago. This is my hard fought, hard won knowledge, skills, experience, that I had to invest over $500,000 to get, and over 20 years of my life. So I'm saving people a lot of time and a lot of money.
And we really, really appreciate it. So before I let you go, just give us some words of encouragement. I mean, there are some people out there that they've invested a lot of money in a lot of things, and they have not broken through to 7 figures yet. Give us some words of encouragement before I let you go.
What you want to do is you want to make sure that you find a system. When you go to the gurus, what you're getting is a personality. Well, there's a big difference between personality-driven success and system-driven success. Personality-driven is exactly what it sounds like. It's based on that person's personality. The question is, what if you don't have that personality? Well, guess what? Most of us don't, right? So that's why the gurus really suck at teaching, because they're trying to teach something that can't be taught, how to be them. What I do that's different is I teach a system. That means it's fill in the blank, paint by numbers, plug and play. And that means anybody can do it. That's why I'd rather brag about my clients' success than my success. Of course, I've done well. I've made a lot of money. I live in a nice house and all that great stuff. But who cares, right? If it doesn't help other people, what is the point? So that's why I'd rather brag about my clients. That's why we call it our wall of fame. Look at this. Look at all these success stories. That's how you know it's a system, and that's how you know that it works, as long as you take action.
Well, Noah, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
My pleasure, Steve.
If you've listened to the show enough, you know that I have Dr. Noah St. John on very regularly. He's brought out so many books, and I know every single one of them are just amazing, all the way going back to the very first time we interviewed him. Oh my gosh, I mean, that was in like 2014 or 15 now. I mean, long, long time ago. And yet that book and this book and everything in between, they make such a difference in your life, so that you can create that machine to then create endless earnings and financial freedom that leads you to the really, truly right kind of financial knowing that makes the impact in your life, makes the impact in your family's life, but also allows you to impact the people in this world that you're meant to serve, to help, and to love on. And that's a great way to live as a thriving entrepreneur. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKidd.com and schedule a time to talk today. This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. We're talking about financial knowing. How can you know the things financially, economically? What can you do? In the first segment, we were talking with Dr. Noah, and he was talking about his new book, The Seven Figure Machine, and how you can create endless earnings in your life. How can you do those things that really, truly can make the real money that you're intended to make? And now we want to move on to another subject, and that has to do with investing. How do you invest wisely? What is the financial knowing you need in order to be able to finance in a way, do your finances, make investments in a way that you really are growing and making an impact to your bottom line, that it's really effective and impactful, and not just something that is, a different version of gambling, basically. So I thought I'd bring us in a good guest that is an expert at the markets and have him talk to us a little bit about financial knowing when it comes to the realm of investing. So with that said, let's jump in to our next guest. Join me in welcoming Tay Sweat. Hey, Tay, how you doing today?
Doing well, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing really good, thanks. First off, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
So me personally, I am simple man, family man, loving, I guess you say man of the markets, if you will. I love to invest. I've been doing this for maybe about 11 years now. And now I'm just looking to give value. So any way I can, entrepreneurship, investing, and, ultimately just being a man, a family man with that.
I love that. And it says here on your identity that you're the Oracle. Tell us a little bit about what that title comes from.
Yeah, so it's a very, I'd say, special name that I was given by my community. So I've been teaching people how to invest for the last maybe 6 years. And a lot of times when I give some type of direction that the market may be going or a price target, it usually hits close to where I usually tell the people to go. And people are thinking, wait a minute, this guy's the Oracle. What are you, what are you doing here? How are you able to do this? So I said, I really like that name. I'm going to use that, and I'll put it up on my Zoom tag. So that's pretty much where that name comes from.
That's amazing. All right. So, what are some of the things that people should know, but they really probably don't about the markets?
Number one, the markets are manipulated. Markets are manipulated. I think a lot of people, if they don't know, I think they have some type of hunch that it is. And when I say they're manipulated, it just simply means it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. I personally just say that, hey, they're manipulated. Now it's up to you to understand what rules govern the manipulation. And so that's one of the things I try to teach people, that you should know it and understand the rules that govern the manipulation.
Okay, so give us an example of that. I realize you're not talking about anything illegal, like
Mhm.
I think of the movie Trading Places, where they tried to steal the information.
Yeah.
You're not talking about
Yes.
anything like that, but
Mhm.
what do you mean by manipulation?
So what I mean by manipulation is a couple things. So we have a lot of algorithms that play into the market, right? And so many people who watch the news or anytime the Fed speaks, and you notice that Jerome Powell can say one thing and the market moves, the way that he's bullish. If he says something bullish, which means up, the market goes up. If he says something that's not so good, the market goes down, which is bearish. And so that to me is, manipulation. For me to be able to say something and move the market, it's manipulation, if you ask me. And so that's one of the things that I mean. Another thing that I like to see, or I like to say when we're talking about manipulating the markets, is that the big money usually wins, right? Usually. And so what I mean by that is wherever big money goes, they usually can manipulate that corner of the market or that particular stock. And so once again, manipulation, it's just a bunch of money pouring into one area, and usually that inflates the stock. That's usually what we see.
I love that. So when you give a prediction, are you beginning to start finding that some of the things you're saying are manipulating the market in that same kind of way?
I would say I don't have enough money yet to manipulate the market in that way. But what I will say is I figured out how to follow the big money, if you will. So you have 13F filings and things like that, that you can kind of see what's going on. But if you look, or if you know where to look on the charts, what we call stock charts, it shows you literally where the market's going or where the money is going based on movement on the stock, or maybe even some type of, I call it a flashing alert on the chart. And so I would say for me personally, I'll look at a chart, and when I say, hey, I think it's going here, I personally would just say that I'm looking at where big money's trying to take it.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that. So, what is the biggest surprise that you've had over the course of all the time that you've been looking at the market?
The biggest surprise, I'd say the biggest surprise also was my biggest loss. I was shorting Google right before the market crash in 2000. I started my short position. Short basically just means I'm going against the stock. I'm betting that the stock is going to fall. And so I short Google. I put $1 million plus, maybe 1.1 million against Google. And it was what we call a put option. And so I said, hey, here's the price. This is where it's going. It should get there in about 6 to 7 months. Well, this was around, I'd say, September, maybe August of 2021. But I'm looking to take advantage of the upcoming crash. I could see where it's coming based on the data. And so, long story short, the surprise was that Google did not fall as quick as I needed it to. I ran out of time, and I ended up losing 1.1, well, maybe right around $1 million. And the big surprise out of that all is once I got out and I lost the money, my target hit. So yeah, it hurt, and it was a big surprise, but I was right. I just needed more time. So yeah, you live and you learn. It won't be my last loss.
Oh, that's sad. What a huge number too. Wow. I mean, you just say I lost $1 million so easily, like, like it's Monopoly money or something.
You get used to it, honestly. Like I said, I've been doing it so long that, sometimes I used to say easy come, easy go, to be honest. And sometimes you have to be able to have that thick, tough skin when it comes to investing. And that's whether you're trading or investing.
So give us a tip. I mean, where do you see things going right now?
Personally, I'm personally, and this is verified through, so I'm in a competition right now, trading competition. It's the Robbins World Trading Cup. And personally, I'm short. I think the market should be falling here within the next 60 days. I'm expecting nothing crazy. When I say fall, we're talking about a correction. Correction is usually anything under about 20% of a market fall. So from all-time highs, we're sitting at what, 5,000? I'd say somewhere around 4,400 could be a good target. 44, 4,500. I do think the market could pull back to. So I'm positioned short. And I think honestly, that could be a good place to, if anyone's looking to get in, I'd love that area to buy the market for the next few years.
I have a good friend of mine. Now, granted, I should preface this by saying, prior to him passing about a year and a half ago now, his hedge fund was about a $10 billion a year hedge fund. So, just a couple of small numbers. But I was talking to him in April-ish of 2020, and you know how crazy the market was then. And he was talking about some of the shorts that he did then, especially on like airline industries and stuff like that. He said, he goes, I may make more money this year than I've ever made in any of my life, and it's really true. Those big dollars when they're, when you're talking about the billions and things like that, they can do some pretty amazing things. I also had another friend of mine. You'll love this one. He happens to be in that industry. There was a day, and I don't know if you knew about this day or not, but there was a day where oil was literally negative, like $35, meaning that If you happen to have an empty storage bin, which nobody had, they would actually literally pay you to take the oil off of their hands.
Wow. No,
Now,
I
it
didn't
only
know about that.
lasted for about 10 hours, and
Wow.
most of it the federal government ended up actually buying. But,
Mhm.
so there are some of those things that are out there every once in a while. But then again, you have to have a couple $100 million just sitting around to take advantage of them right that minute.
Yes.
So for the rest of us, those of us that don't just have billions sitting around, to be the big money, what is a good way to get started in investing?
Absolutely, great question. One of the things I usually teach is just get started in shares, right? Get started in anything that you may be privy to. So, for example, you have people who are, let's say, hairstylists, right? You know exactly what product you use every day and what product your other, your fellow hairdressers or hairstylists are using. That could be a great indicator to say, hey, you have an advantage there, right? There's an advantage just knowing what this product does, how, and if it's in the public markets, you can then go and place some money there because, hey, you're spending money with them anyway, right? So might as well make some money from the growth of the company. And so that's just a great example that I like to give. And it works, I think, honestly, across the board. I've seen people who are mechanics, car mechanics, whatever oil may be going on, or if we're in your case, you just mentioned oil. If there's a shortage in oil, maybe you want to go there. Maybe you want to place a bet there because oil is about to go up in price because of the scarcity. I've seen it in many things. Me personally, I've also done that. When I was coming up as had a business as a personal trainer, and I would look at the brands that I saw most people wearing to the gym. Lululemon was one of those. I've made a lot of money off of Lululemon because I just saw people buying it, and it just didn't go away. So it's a great way of doing things because I think it gives a competitive edge to the rest of the market because you see it every day.
And so, do you have training classes that you do to help people be able to begin to learn and do some investments and take your predictions and run with them?
Absolutely. I realized that what I do, a lot of people, would be skeptic, about it. And I get it. And so what I do is actually trade live. I share my screen. I bring my face on the screen. I'm showing my emotions. I like people to see that, hey, I'm calm here because this is what I see happening. And I literally explain the moves as they happen. And so what I've been doing here recently is since I'm in this actual competition, the trading competition, I've been literally showing exactly the moves that I'm taking in the competition. And so as I win, I think we've made as high as top two. So there's a leaderboard, top five in the world. I'm very thankful to be able to say, yes, we've been able to hit top two so far. And so every day this leaderboard changes. And so I'm looking at, come for the number one spot. And the reason why I'm excited about that is because once I get to number one, then everybody who's been with me live trading the same things also are, reaping the benefits from that. So absolutely, this is what I love to do.
Oh, that's amazing. So, how can a person follow you? How can they watch you be part of this?
Absolutely. So I'm mostly active on Instagram. So at Tay Sweat, TAYSWEAT. You can come check it out. And if you have any questions, just send me a DM and I do my best to get back to all the DMs I can as possible. I have a lot of messages that come in, but I will try to get back to you as soon as possible.
And for the people who just want a great tip, what is a great tip that today you can give them for investing?
The biggest tip, honestly, is, and I wouldn't even say it's investing as far as investing in the markets, it's investing in yourself. Me personally, my biggest thing that I always tell everyone is to invest in yourself, meaning your skill, whatever it is you want to do, put the money into you, put the money into your brain because you're going to be your biggest investment. Nobody's going to take care of your money like you. So if you're gonna run a business, go find a business coach. If you're gonna be a basketball player, go find a shooting coach. Whatever it may be, put the money into yourself because you will take care of your investment way better than anybody else will.
Oh, I love that advice. And tell us one more time how we can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So Instagram at Tay Sweat, TaySweat. And there I also have my email, so you can reach out to my team if you have any other further questions that maybe won't fit inside of the DM on Instagram.
I love that. Well, Tate, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the show today.
Absolutely, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I don't know about you, but I love the concept of knowing somebody that is an oracle when it comes to investments, somebody that can really look at the market and say, this is the direction things are going, and here's where I think you should go with your money. It's so helpful versus just kind of making a best guess or going with things that are too conservative or, way too crazy and like you're a gambler. What an amazing talent. And having that financial knowing then allows you the capability to invest your money wisely, to put away for your future, and be able to really create the legacy for yourself, your family, and the world that you were meant to. And that is such a good way to live as a thriving entrepreneur. And I want that for you. Let's take our next break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKidd.com and schedule a time to talk today. This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about financial knowing. How can you not just guess? How can you not just put everything in planning ahead or have nothing for planning ahead? How do you have a financial knowing that allows you to be able to really truly make the difference in your life, in your family's lives, and the lives of the people that you're meant to serve? There's a thing called financial awareness. We talked about the money machine, and we talked about how to be able to invest properly. And now we want to just talk about plain old being aware of how finances work and how you can make them work for you so that you can really thrive in what you're doing financially. Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, that's what my next guest is an expert at. He's going to come in and talk to us about financial awareness and how we can have then that financial knowing and live as a thriving entrepreneur. With that said, let's jump in to our next guest. Join me in welcoming Ben Reiser. Hey, Ben, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Steve. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. First off, tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, I am an aerospace engineer turned fractional CFO with a mission of strengthening American families and communities with the values of life, family, faith, freedom, and country so they can do good around the world. And I'm happy to unpack that. As far as showing up in the world, how I'm showing up in the world, I would say I don't. That's why I'm here. I've been hiding behind my spreadsheets for too long, serving a few clients, but I do feel called to increase my mission impact by getting out of my comfort zone and sharing my vision, mission, and values with the world. And I believe there are values aligned small business, nonprofit, and private equity who have an awesome vision and mission to pursue, but they're hindered by financial uncertainty. And so that's where my business steps in and seeks to help them.
So, if you only had like 5 minutes with somebody, what is the number one thing you want to make sure that people begin to learn to kind of start the process off?
Well, I would say my business seeks to establish what I call financial situational awareness, which is really helping business owners understand their financials, understand where they've been, where they're at, where they want to go, which is planning, and where they're actually heading, which is projections.
I love it. So where do you find most people struggle the most with? Is it that they have no plan at all or that their plans are unrealistic?
I think it's hard to plan when you don't have a good grasp on your financial situation to begin with. So I think, one of my ideal customers are businesses in the trades where they were expert technicians, and they were encouraged by friends and family to go out on their own. They started a business. In a few years, they got a couple trucks, they got a couple guys, and they've grown to the point where they're out over their skis on accounting and finance, and every year it's just you know meeting with the tax accountant and finding out, how your year went versus knowing how it's going while you're going through it, and being able to plan for growth and understanding, like, all right, if I want to hire employees, if I want to buy more trucks or purchase a building, how do I even go about planning to do that? What do I need to do? And so that's one of the ways we can help practically in just planning for business owners and entrepreneurs.
It always seems like, for the most part, there are two sides of the fence. There are the folks who are, as you said, way out ahead of their skis. They're growing too fast, basically. And then there's the other side of the coin, that the people that are so conservative that they probably likely are never even going to grow because they're not taking those opportunities that they come up. Would you say that's a fair evaluation?
Yeah, I think flying by the seat of your pants is typically what I've seen, where we have companies operating with far too little cash reserves, for the level of volatility that I see in their income and expense. And I think the first thing is helping them to rationalize, how much cash do I really need to operate my business within the bank account? Like, how much do I need to leave in after I pay myself? Um, and so I think that's one of the main things I see with small businesses, is just not keeping enough cash.
What is a good rule of thumb for how much cash you should keep on hand?
I like I like the number three. I like to aim for three times your, what I call, critical cash outflows. So that could be cost of goods sold. It's dollars coming out of your checking account that must come out of your checking account, whether it's for payroll, purchasing materials. And that can sound like a lot of money, but I would say you should have at least 60 days of cash on hand in the checking account, and maybe the other 30 days of cash on hand in a money market, just sitting, ready if you need it, but it's not sitting there doing absolutely nothing.
So, what is a person who finds himself in the cycle where they are covering, they're paying themselves, all those kind of things, but they are very much on that month to month cycle? How do they even get out of that?
I'd say one step at a time. I would set a goal of, all right, by the end of the year, I want to have so much cash in reserve. And so, if you pay yourself monthly or quarterly, it's like paying yourself a dividend as an owner is one of the primary ways you control how much cash is in the company account. And I would just pay yourself a little bit of less so that you're retaining a little bit of cash every month or every quarter, and work your way up to that goal. And of course, the other side of that is increasing sales and income to increase your cash. But obviously when you increase, your sales and income, there's increased cash expenditures. So kind of like that cash reserve target kind of gets bigger the more sales you do. But a multitude of sales, I should say sales cover a multitude of sins as far as, cash mismanagement. But I would say just a little bit at a time, Steve.
And you said, pay yourself a little bit less. What do you find when you see companies, a lot of startups are in this place where, they're not paying themselves at all?
That's a tough space to be in. We got to get them over the sales hurdle where they can start paying themselves, because you can't not pay yourself indefinitely. Even startups, you capitalize the firm, but maybe the executives or the owners are still taking some minimal salary, and small enough that they're hungry to grow the business where they can start taking dividends and start benefiting from their ownership interest. But I would say you need to grow past that point where you can start where you can actually start paying yourself dividends. And I know that can be easier said than done, but it's getting out there doing sales and marketing.
I love that. So we've grown a business. We've gotten to the place where we got a couple of employees now. Things are starting to look good, and then emergencies happen, because they're going to. Um, what happens when we find ourselves then in that place where we finally do have the reserve built up, and then something happens and poof, it's all gone?
Well, thank God you had it so that there was something to go poof with. Because if you didn't have it to begin with, it's game over right out of the gate. So, cash reserves are critical to being able to weather a storm. That's a strong balance sheet. Having much more assets than you have liabilities, that's the starting point to begin to weather a storm. Now that the cash, say you had a big event and the cash is gone, well, if you got to keep paying your employees and purchasing materials, well, that means the owner might have to take a haircut for a while to build the cash back up in the firm. Um, but like I said, again, like having a healthy cash flowing business, where you've invested in the sales and marketing to where you can afford to take a haircut as an owner on the cash flow side. That's your safety margin, is having a business that's maybe not so large that you can't manage it. Sometimes the business can get too big, if that's not where you want to go with it, but having it big enough where if hard times come, you can take a haircut on dividends, as an owner and retain cash in the business.
Oh, I absolutely love that. So, what is the one thing you wish everybody knew coming into the first meeting with you?
Coming to the first meeting with me, I think that I would say that I'm not a bookkeeper. My company does provide bookkeeping, but I think the term fractional CFO a lot of times just makes people's eyes glaze over. Fractional being a term in the finance industry, which means shared use of a resource. In practical terms, that's like a part-time CFO where you are essentially purchasing a portion of an individual's time to come alongside you as an executive financial partner and walk with you throughout the year, really filling the functional void between the bookkeeper and the tax accountant. And in larger organizations, those roles would be the controller and the chief financial officer, which we provide on a part-time basis to help those small businesses or nonprofits grow to the point where they can hire full-time folks in those roles.
So, where does a business need to be in order to begin working with you?
I would say it begins to make sense, when they're over $1 million in sales. I would say my sweet spot as a company would probably be in the 1 to 10 million in revenue range, 10 being on the high end, but really looking to come alongside organizations that are just too small to afford full-time controller or CFO salaries, but they absolutely, all organizations need them long before they can afford them full time.
So for a person who knows that you're exactly what they need, how do they begin to start working with you?
Well, the first part is my process is what I call alignment, then discovery, and then transformation. So alignment is really that first conversation where we're discovering if there's alignment between their business needs and the core competencies of my firm. And if there's just a good fit there as far as, their expense budget, are they, do they have enough cash or cash flow to afford me for a time where we can get through whatever season they're in and get them profitable and cash flowing, and planning for the future. So that's the first step, is what I would call the alignment meeting, and just that's a free consult.
I love that. And where would they go to connect with you?
That would be my website, Provident Financial Services Ltd.com. And on there, you can learn a lot more about my firm and schedule a meeting. There's also a free download there called From Sales to Equity, what your financial reports are trying to tell you about your business, which is really just the layman's term introduction to financial statements for those folks that where that's just like reading a different language.
And give us that URL one more time.
Yep, to be Provident Financial Services Ltd.com.
Well, Ben, I really appreciate what you do in this world. Thanks for being a guest here on the show today.
Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate it.
I hope after listening to that, you actually even feel a little more financially aware. I hope that throughout the course of all these guests, it's helped you feel like you have a little deeper financial knowing, that you have some tools in your arsenal that maybe you didn't have before, that you feel empowered rather than especially scared of money, and that from that you can do the things that allow you to live and to thrive in all that you do. We are going to take one more commercial break, and then we'll be right back to wrap it up here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKidd.com and schedule a time to talk today. This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. Thanks for listening in as we talk about financial knowing. Money can be sometimes a mystery, sometimes scary even, and sometimes it feels massively empowering. We find ourselves being able to do things because we know what we're doing. And that's such a great feeling when you feel like your financial life is intact, in place, is really running the way that it should, versus the times when you feel like your finances are in disarray or are just chaotic and confusing. I hope that throughout the course of the time we spent here today, you got a little bit of financial knowing. I know there's a whole bunch more that's still to learn, and that's okay. Each day, if we take one step, we'll be one step closer to where we're going than we were before we took that step. And all we need to do, as I say so many times, is just simply maximize while it's called today. What can we do today to be the best version of ourselves in everything that we do? How can we really and truly be the difference that we're meant to make? Be the person that we want to be, but also, let go of the things from before. We've all made mistakes, and that's okay. It really is. What we need to do is, if need be, ask for forgiveness, and then, more importantly, forgive ourselves. Often, we hold over ourselves more than anybody else ever is going to the mistakes of our past. And so even in the times when somebody's forgiven us, or even in the times where the person's never going to forgive us, that happens too. We're the ones that are really beating ourselves up. All too often what ends up happening is the person that wounded us and hurt us, that we need to forgive, they're off living their life. They're happy and joyful, and they don't think about us at all. And yet we're suffering because we're not letting go of it. And so I encourage you today, let yesterday go. Let tomorrow, when it comes, take care of itself. And take this financial knowing that we've been talking about all day and live in the abundance that's already yours, in the ability to live so far beyond what you think or thought was going to be, to a place where you can be an amazing place, in an exciting place, where you make the difference in the lives of the people around you. And you're going to do it. You know why? Because you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose. And the world needs you. And I want to thank you. If nobody else has ever thanked you, or to be the next one if somebody ever has, I want to thank you for being exactly who you are. For being the incredible, amazing, awesome, life-changing person that you are in the lives of the people that you have served, that you will serve, but most importantly, the lives of the people that you touch today. Today is the day that we have, as Ernie Villanueva always said, today is the only legal tender we can spend. We talked about financial knowing, right? Today is the day that you have that you can nourish, you can fulfill, you can thrive in by just maximizing that one day that's called today, and making the difference in the little ways that you can make in all the lives of the people you come in contact with, even with things as simple as a smile. You want to talk about some financial knowing? Try this today. Try giving a tip to somebody who tipping is not even part of what their job is. I was in a drugstore one time, and I handed the lady $20. There was probably 3 people working there that day, and I said, lunch is on me. She didn't even totally know what to do with it, and I don't know what ended up happening. But it's things like that that are a lot of fun and allow you to thrive in ways that you never imagined before. Thanks for being with me. Have an amazing week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I am a third-generation minister, an international best-selling author of multiple books, and I help people write, publish, and market their books to bestseller. In fact, there are literally thousands of people that have used the system that I created to be able to write, publish, and market their books, and now they're best-selling authors. And you're next. I just wanted to come on for a minute, say hi to you, tell you a little bit about me, introduce myself, and tell you I know the world is waiting on your message, and I would be so honored to be part of sharing your message with the world. Go to AskSteveKid.com and schedule a time to talk today.